where does that fit in? Are we going to work out first, mobility after? Just kind of take us through that.
It's a great question, and this both in my personal practice and anecdotally, and I think if you look at any content on YouTube, etc., this is the biggest mistake, which is what
Mm,
you just asked about, is especially men, because men tend to be more, in the gym, want to like, get after it, throw the heavy weights around, is the lack of a thoughtful, mobility focused warm up session
mm,
before getting into the heavy weights. So in the GolfForever program, we refer to these as fundamentals. Think of it like this: an ideal scenario, if you're training, is you want to spend the first 10 to 15 minutes waking up the muscles that have been dormant. So again, let's go
mm.
back to the example of sitting all the time because it's common for everybody. You and I are both doing it right now. There's this, I wish I had come up with this phrase because it's so great, but I didn't, but it's called gluteal amnesia,
Ooh,
basically. And what that means is, the gluteal muscles are the muscles in your buttocks. You sit on your butt all day. To put it really simply in layman's terms, but it is accurate, your brain forgets how to connect with those muscles. They're being compressed, as I mentioned, blood flow
hmm,
shut off, nerves are compressed. So when you're going into your routine, you're going to spend the first 10 to 15 minutes waking those muscles up, reestablishing connectivity, getting blood flow in there, getting them working properly without load first, before, and then you can safely and more effectively add load in the
mm,
second part of your workout. So you're generally spending 10 to 15 minutes waking everything up, reminding yourself of good posture, reminding yourself of good form, making sure you understand how it's supposed to feel before you're adding on resistance. And you're going to
okay.
get far more of an efficient and effective and safe training training protocol for that day if you do it that way. Second part of your question is, in the GolfForever program, and I'd argue really just about everybody, especially if you're over 30, you should be working full body movements into your strength training program.
Hmm,
It's very inefficient and oftentimes counterproductive to go into the gym and get on a machine and just train one joint at a time.
hmm,
It's inefficient because you could be doing so much more. You should be doing full body movements with resistance where you're practicing the right form. You're making the body work like a symphony, not just like one
mm,
instrument. It's a symphony that's supposed to be played together that makes those training routines far more efficient as far as even for calorie burning, but
hmm,
training you how to move better, how to be more athletic. All of that translates into the golf swing because that's what the golf swing is.
hmm.
You're asking your body to put together a very complicated set of movements again and again and again and again. And the better that you are at doing any kind of complicated movement, it doesn't have to be exactly like the golf swing. The better you get at training your body to move in specific complicated ways, the
Hmm.
better it's going to be at doing all of those things. So that's an important idea. You don't need to just go in, you shouldn't just go and replicate the golf swing on one side over and over.
Hmm.
You're missing a huge, part of the benefit you could get. The key is to make your body work better, to make it an athletic machine, and to make your brain more in tune with how your body wants to need. Then you can get up and replicate that swing over
Hmm.
and over and over with more confidence and more consistency.
So Dr. Troy, when he was on the show, said his favorite compound movement, I believe, was the like push, like having the barbell and then like the push kind of squat and then like push it up. He said, I can't remember I'm blanking all of a sudden on the name, where it's like kind of anchored in and you push up. And he said that was like his favorite because it gets the legs, it gets the core, it gets the upper body. What would you say is some of your favorite compound movements that'll help golfers when they are doing the more resistance training a couple days a week?
Yeah, I think probably what he was referring to is maybe a split squat to overhead press. It's
It
actually
was
one of
like,
my
when
favorites as
the
well.
barbell is like in there, like kind of lodged into something on the ground. It's like it like has a little hole and it goes in there, and then you can either push it
Yep.
up with one. I'm totally blanking on the name all of a sudden, but I like doing that one whenever I have a gym that has that because it does feel like it gets kind of everything.
Got it. I mean, I like to use the swing trainer a lot for my own personal workouts, and that piece of equipment, I said this for years before we even started Golf Forever because we had similar devices, or sometimes I would hook up a bar to the cable machine, in the gym and use it
Hmm.
that way. But if I could just use one piece of equipment, that would be it because any movement you're doing is training multiple things: balance, core strength, body control, integrated movement like we talked about. So with the swing trainer, a couple of my favorite ones, we do it in the program and it's fairly difficult, but you're facing the anchor point, you've got the
Hmm.
bar, you got the overhand position, you're pulling it in, rotating backwards, and then extending your arms out. To be able to do that move well takes an enormous amount of upper body mobility, which is important for the golf swing, having thoracic mobility. It takes a tremendous amount of core strength, lats and back muscle strength,
Hmm.
and balance. I mean, it's a really difficult one to do. That's one of my favorites. And then, you've probably seen the move that Scotty likes to do where he's in a split stance, he's
Hmm.
facing downward and he's doing that rotation with the anchor to the side. It's another one of my favorites. It's a great full body exercise, but I think those that I just described, as well as the one that you mentioned with Troy, the common denominator that there is, they're all multiple planes of movement. You're not just going like forward back, right? You're doing
Hmm.
integrated movements. You're doing them with resistance that's offset. So in Troy's case, you're pushing something from low to high.
Hmm.
With the swing trainer, you're always moving in multiple planes of movement. So it's just very, very efficient, and you're getting way more bang for your buck than just standing there and doing, bicep curls or laying on a bench and doing a bench press.
Yeah, unfortunately, my college workouts from 20 years ago don't really do much anymore. They were fun at the time, but don't quite have the time, and the metabolism seems to be a little different from then. So I like the full the full body aspect helps.